guys. Ben Travovic here from the Manly Seagulls.
Here comes through Luai.
The SuperCoach Experience Podcast is one of the best podcasts going around, boys.
They go, Toho! Scores
Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, I just want to say, what a podcast. Go the Mighty Eagles.
Hey lads, Ewan Aiken here from the New Zealand Warriors. Hope you have a big year with the SuperCoach Experience Podcast.
Got the ball to Sims, it's down Toho! It's gone in again! What a pass!
Hello and welcome to the SuperCoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, back from the dead. Had COVID all week last week, and I'm still recovering from it, but I'm here for the podcast, and what a week of SuperCoach. The trend of the SuperCoach, the NRL being a low-scoring affair for SuperCoach, is continuing, and we've got to reassess how we play SuperCoach. But to dissect this with me, I've got my trusty co-hosts, Mikey, the coach of Trip Jacket Mafia. How are you, Mikey? Can't hear you, Mikey. Can't hear.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. Bit of technical difficulties. There we go. All right. Hey, Savs. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to have a full podcast team on. And I like the new opening thing. I like the G-Up music. It's a nice touch. So you're right, mate. SuperCoach is changing. We wanted a bit of a change. We've got one. Fortunately, it's probably not the best one for all of us. But, yeah, as usual, ready to dissect.
I don't know who to introduce next. I'll introduce the one who's had a hot week, beating me by 1 point and topping the SuperCoach Experience panel. Jakey, the coach, to kiss my behind, and the Sharkies got up at Shark Park. How are you, Jakey?
What a week. It was the Sharks left it late to win at home, and I beat you by 1 point. I thought you might have had me on updates. I was ahead by 1 point, but it stayed that way. So, good week all around.
I was so confident that Katoni Staggs would have got awarded a line break. It got awarded in the NRL app, and I know all the time the NRL app stats don't really matter, but I legit thought that was a line break, and I thought they were going to award it, but they didn't. But 1001 versus 1000, I'm not too upset because that competition's just a banter competition, so I can cop losing to you. But this guy I wouldn't cop losing to. The reigning champion, Tim Moody. How are you, Tim?
G'day, buddy. What do you mean? Why won't you cop losing to me? You're going to have to get used to it, buddy.
Because it's like the reigning premiers in Penrith Panthers. You just want to beat that person all the time.
All right. Take it easy. Take it easy.
How was your week? 975-ish, I think?
981-ish. But, look, I jumped back up the ranks a little bit. I'm coming now 30,900th instead of 60,900th. So, flying back up the top, mate.
Very good. Lads, it's been a big TLT. Mikey hasn't even looked into it because it's still quite early. But big TLT, lads. What have we taken from it? Jake, Angus Crichton benched.
Yeah, I think that's the big one. I was tossing up between Fafita or Angus Crichton to go, and I thought the extra 100K that Fafita will give me would be golden. But I think Angus Crichton getting benched kind of makes a decision for me. It was like the decision last week with Nikorima, who's now back, disappearing. It means I've got Harry Grant in, so I think everything's fallen in the right places for me. So yeah, Angus Crichton a big one, and I guess the other big one is who's replacing Toe, which got Taylor May got the spot.
Yeah, Mikey, Taylor May named. Is he? I know you've probably planned out your trades this week, but is he someone that you could see someone potentially downgrading and getting him in this week?
No, not this week. It's just, look, we've had to look at all the injuries that have come from the first two rounds. I think you've got to just hold on, wait and see. that Penrith's team list, Nathan Cleary in the reserves. I'm very happy to see Taylor May get it over Rob Jennings. I think it was purely because it was a tire injury. I think he's a like-for-like replacement. Whereas if it maybe went down Stainside, maybe we see Rob Jennings. But I think it's great for SuperCoach. He's got a strong work rate, and I think he'll do great on that left edge. That's the key thing too. He's on the left edge, which they're just attacking so heavily. And yeah, I definitely see myself bringing into the side. The injury 6 to 8 weeks, and if Taylor May's doing pretty well, they'll give Ty as much recovery as possible. But that's enough time to make a bit of cash. So 250K is not bottom dollar, but he might be. You could upgrade Valemi if he doesn't come back into the side. He might be a way to get rid of Cobbo if Cobbo keeps stinking it up. But the big thing is wait and see. And just with the Panthers too, Mail did come out that Sorensen and Fisher Harris weren't going to play this week. So maybe Sorensen does play, but I reckon they'll both be late scratchings, or at least one of them. So I'm assuming Hopgood and Smith might come up into there. So I guess the only SuperCoach relevance there if Linu shifts up into prop. But if those two come in, then maybe his minutes won't be as big as we see. So he could be a bit of a trap.
I guess another one. Sorry, I guess another one you might be missing, Mikey, is the bloke that's named at 24. Is he any hope of playing?
I did briefly mention him. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, we're not getting into it. Come on, listen. I didn't want to start off the bat talking about Penrith Panthers, and we've bloody got off to a bad start talking about Penrith Panthers. Come on.
We're talking about team lists. We've got to address it.
I'll let you talk about it. Let's go. Go.
Thank you. So, yeah, Nathan Cleary. I'm not sure if he's going to play. I don't think they'll rush him back if they don't think he's 100%, but if Fisher Harris and Sorensen come out, we are down a few troops. If he's right to play, he will. I remember last year when he come back from injury, we didn't think he'd be rushed back, but he come back against the Dragons team in round 2 when we thought he'd miss that game as well. So he might play. He might. The Knights are looking good, and I'm a little nervous playing them this week. We are playing them at Carrington, but look, start getting that money ready, boys. You're going to need to get him. I'm hoping he starts a bit slow, but get a plan ready. That's all I can say.
Let me just say the Panthers are going to give the Knights a reality check this weekend.
I don't think so.
I hope so, Tim.
I don't think so, but we've got a comment here from Mashed Potatoes.
Putting on his old jersey here.
We've got a comment from Mashed Potatoes here. So good input there, Mashed Potatoes. So, Timmy, the weekend of SuperCoach has just gone. Obviously, we all kind of scored very similar. What are your big takes from the weekend, and who are the players that have caught your interest over the weekend?
Yes, I guess the big take from the weekend is that the SuperCoach points have really sort of come back a lot more than what we thought they were going to be. I think 70 is a great score now. 50 seems like you'll take it. I think we'll struggle to get like multiple tons. I think just that shift of having the penalty instead of the 6 again, it just means that the teams aren't getting as much of a roll on keeping the ball in their hand for as long. I think we're going to have to get used to some smaller scores from now on. And picking a captain, I think each week the right captain might be pretty crucial, more so than any other year, because there's a lot of different variables.
I'm just going to butt in there because we have got multiple comments saying Ho Grant is out for round 3 with COVID. I don't know how true this is, but
that's huge.
It's been reported.
Let's get a confirmation of that because that's massive.
Yeah, Melbourne Storm announced it on Twitter, so I think it's pretty.
So he's out with COVID
just then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God, man! Oh, that's huge. I wanted him this week, but
the
back
curse
to the
of
drawing board.
The curse of Jake's hooker spot.
It's what he just said. Then he goes, "Everything's falling into place for me." You just jinx yourself.
Switch right there.
Okay, so that is absolutely huge. So obviously, Harry Grant is a massive trading target this week. He was someone I was going to look at prioritizing getting in, but obviously we can wait a week now. And Tim,
that might not be a good thing though.
I'm lost. That was the only trade I had in mind. I don't know. I don't have any trades in mind.
That was my set trade.
Yeah, I don't have anything to do. I'm just confused now. I feel like I'm not going to be able to offer much today.
I like it because I wanted like 3 or 4 players this week, and Harry Grant was one of them. But Harry Grant was my number 1 trade-in target. I don't know. I like it. Yeah. Oh, geez. That's a tough one.
It just means
it's not good because, example,
I want to get rid of Reed, and Reed's got I think he's what's his BE? Is it not? It's only about 100.
100. Yeah. It's like a low 100, so it's like 102 or something. So it's bad for Reed Marnie owners because, example, I have 40k for this week. Now next week you're going to have to dish out more money because Reed, if he plugs a 60, he's going to shed a bit of money. So he's versing the Storm, which I'm hoping for some attacking stats. But you're forced into holding him now and having some more. Don't know.
Yeah, especially if you want to go to Harry. Yeah.
It's also good for Harry Green owners because it's good for us because now Harry Green owners are going to be in a bit of strife, missing his attacking points this week.
And they don't want to trade him either. So yeah, that's a good one.
No.
Okay.
So it's like 50-50. It's screwed for both of us.
Yeah.
All right. I guess let's work through it and just continue on. Jake, we'll start on with the hot topics of the week. So the most traded in player this week by a mile is Nicho Hynes. I'm a Nicho Hynes owner, and I'm really happy with how he's doing. But when I saw that he was by far the number one traded in, I was shocked. He got 101 doing it looked like nothing, which I mean, people are probably thinking, okay, I need to fill this halfback role with someone who's scoring well, and he kind of seems to he's picked up from where he left off last season. What are your thoughts on Nicho Hynes at halfback, and do you think he is the obvious number one trade-in target this week?
I can see why a lot of them have had enough with their halfbacks, and they want a safe one. Like, people might even be bringing him at fullback as well, because Tom, I think, is one of the most traded out, Tommy Turbo. So could easily be him. But yeah, I guess it might be an easy bridge to Nathan Cleary, but I think you kind of want Nicho Hynes. The way he's going, he's kind of matching what Cleary did last year, and we don't know how good Cleary's going to come back. So I can see why he's most traded in, because he seems to be the top halfback option that's currently playing. And yeah, I think a lot of people are throwing him in fullback, so they like that duel as well. So, I mean, I was looking at him this week, but with sort of Fafita playing and Angus Crichton not, my plans are a bit changed now. Don't quite have that cash. But yeah, I can see the merit in it for sure.
Guys, just before we move on, we're going to quickly go over today the most traded in and traded out, and then go over team list not very thoroughly, and then bold predictions and captain choices. Timmy, Viliami Kikau is the second most traded in. You got him in last week, and you captained him. We should have mentioned that at the start of the show. What a move.
Oh, I wouldn't be tooting too loud about it. It wasn't that great of a move. Probably a little bit silly on reflection. Yeah, like I my emotions got the best of me. I was up late the night prior to the Penrith game and seeing that Viliami had his jersey presented to him by his brother who'd come from overseas, and got the little tears in the eyes, and was trading him in instantly just because I thought he was going to have a big game. And I thought, look, bloody already won it. I've got to stop treating this thing so seriously. I love Viliami Kikau, whether he's bloody great for Supercoach or not. I want him in my side. So I put him in my side, and he did all right. He had a great first half. The second half was pretty underwhelming, but I think that's what you get from Kikau. He has a couple of big plays each game, or he doesn't do any big plays, and you struggle on those games. So you just have to pick him on matchup. Yep. Some people, he's pretty red hot. I wouldn't be too keen on him unless you're obsessed with him like I am. I don't think
he looks like looks like he started the season quite well, and hopefully he can keep it up for you. Mikey, the next player we've got here, Peter Hiku, at 6,000 people have traded him in. You're very high on him, and are you getting him in this week? What are your plans?
Well, I did have my trades sorted. I was going to make the 3, but obviously Harry Grant changes everything for me, because I had 94k. Like, just quickly, my trades last week were awful, bringing in Martin and Cobbo for a combined total of 55 points when Leilua outscored both of them. So not a good week for me, but I had 94k ready for Reed Marnie. So I've got that 94k now, and now I could do like someone like Bullimore or something to Hiku, but I'll definitely be bringing him in. He went up 3,000 trades in a day. He was only brought in by 3,000. I like him. I think it's maybe some people are just looking at the two big scores and the low break even and going money, but I'm not just looking at that, and it sucks. I wish he would stayed a bit more as a pod. Good price. Good work rate. He's getting so much tackle bust, offloads. I just like the look of him. He's always had like on and off like inconsistency in Supercoach, but he has always had the big game in him, and he just looks good at the Cowboys. They got a few nice matchups, the Cowboys. I like the one this week. So look, at 360k, like I'm even considering punting Billy Smith just to grab him because I won't have to spend too much money doing that trade. You might say sideways, but I really don't like that right edge at the Roosters at the moment. And yeah, you know, if Hiku can score a try, which he hasn't done yet, and gets like a 70-80 this week, you're looking at a nice price rise. And you know, you could happily hold him and keep him there. He reminds me of Tor a little bit. Like he's like that kind of base stat center wing, and he makes the tackle bust and the offloads part of his base. And yeah, I like it for 360k. I think you can do it, and it can't completely shatter your side. It'd be nice if he stays under 15%, but yeah, he's being brought in by the masses.
Everyone's talking about him now. He'll be popular as.
Oh,
sorry. There'll be loads of people getting him because everyone's talking about him.
I saw a comment on Peter Hiku earlier today saying he still owed his try assist from a few years ago. I don't know if anyone remembers that when he was highly owned and didn't get that try assist.
I do.
Jake, we got Harry Grant in next, Max King. I think they're givens. Jake Clifford and Dane Gagai next on the list. What are your thoughts on Jake Clifford and Dane Gagai? I'm really liking the look of Dane Gagai and Jake Clifford, mind you, and Newcastle Knights.
It sounds like you might be going back to support.
No.
Boys, are you getting the same vibe from him?
Yeah, it's because they're 2 from 2.
Definitely, just jumping ship.
No.
But I guess
as soon as Tom starts going good again.
Yeah, Dane.
How about you just support the Panthers and then you just don't ever have to change?
Yeah, you could do that. Sorry, Jake, go for it, mate.
Yeah, Dane Gagai, he's brilliant. I guess the nicest surprise us, and that includes, I guess, Jake Clifford. No, 400k. He seems like maybe a bit of a money grab for those that have lost Hastings. I think he's fighting the charge actually, but I doubt he gets off. It was a pretty bad tackle. So they want kind of a cheap-ish half that's potentially going to make money. So Clifford's probably the best option there. You can maybe throw Dearden or Clune, but I think Clifford with the goal kicking is probably why they're choosing him. And yeah, Dane Gagai. I mean, even in drafts and stuff, no one was picking him up because they go, "Oh, no, it's going to be rubbish." But he's I don't know. He's their strike center. They're going to him more than best. And the only thing, I guess, turning me off him is his price and the fact that he's center wing where we've got so many cheapies. And I guess that's why a lot. I mean, if he was cheaper, he'd be more owned than Peter Hiku in terms of being brought in. But I think the fact that he's at that price from a great year at South last year is why he's not more traded in, I guess.
I think his draw definitely puts me off him. But yeah, well said there. The rest of the top traded in are quite highly owned players, so no need to touch on them. Timmy, Tom Trbojevic is the most traded out. What do you think of people looking at trading out Tommy? And are they crazy for doing it this week? Like, if of all weeks, this week is the week you want to see him bounce back?
Well, it's a predicament, isn't it? Because they are playing the Dogs Manly, which is usually a quite nice matchup for the likes of Tommy. But he does have a BE of 3,055 million. Actually 307. But yeah, look, it's really high. He's going to drop a lot of money. I can understand if people are really upset with the shape of like the rest of their side. They've got him as well. He's not doing that job. They want to sell him. That can give him the cash to sort of do whatever they need to do. I don't mind it. I do think, though, there's probably a little bit of merit in kind of holding him, though, because if lots of people are selling him, has a massive week, then he's kind of more pottish, which could be quite nice. I'm just glad I'm not in that situation, to be fair. But I'd lean towards selling. But the fact is no one else is really killing it. So it's hard to know where to go other than that.
Mikey, as a non-Stags owner, he's the second most traded out. What are your thoughts on people trading out Stags? Is it too early or is it time to go?
I think with the ready-made replacement in Hiku, I think, you can do that and make a bit of money. I've made it clear. I was really off Stags and I didn't think he was a good buy. And so I'm going to give an approach where I think, you should sell him. But at the same time, that left side hasn't completely clicked yet. You could say the same for Cobbo. And I do think there's some tries in the near future. If only he put that ball down last week, it would have been a very different scoreline. So, or for a score for him. So, I don't hate the sell, but, if I always, with these plays, you pick them for a reason. So it just depends on what's on your priority list this week.
Jake, the last person on the most traded out list is Angus Crichton at the moment. I think a lot of people were considering selling him before he was benched, but now he's benched. It makes the decision quite a bit easier. We've got a comment from Brad Huxley here. Olaquatu or whoever it is for Gus. I think you're thinking similar routes.
I'm doing that exact same thing. It was going to be for Feeder out, but I guess Angus benching means, he's going for me. He was poor not that he was poor last week. They just don't go right, the Roosters. So he got no attacking ball. I don't know if that was who they were versing. They prefer to run at Cherry Evans. But yeah, it was poor. And now he's somehow on the bench. I know Nat Butcher came on for Tupanua and was quite good. I guess you can kind of wait on late news to whether Tupanua is going to properly recover from his HIA. I know there was a bit of noise around that he may not, but I mean, he's been named, so you assume he's all good to go.
Do you think the fact that Angus has been named on the bench, even if Tupanua is kind of ruled out, that kind of means that Crichton is third in the pecking order just at the moment, based on form and fitness probably?
Yeah, so even if they're all fit, I guess Nat Butcher's gone ahead of him. He scored, 2 tries, I think, when he came on. So, yeah, I guess he's falling on the pecking order. Robbo rewards, good results, and he's done that with Crichton dropping the bench.
Very good. Breaking news is that Harry Grant has COVID, so everyone's going into meltdown. We'll go into the team list shortly. But firstly, let's get a message from TopSport.
Another half win. From punters jumping in early or waiting too late. You get a good price on one leg, but the others have shortened dramatically. You still win, but it feels like you half win. Introducing TopSport's best of the best multi. Get top odds on every leg, every time. Don't be one of these. Just bet and forget with Bob Multi. TopSport. Feel the excitement. Gamble responsibly.
That guy looks a bit like Andrew O'Keefe, unfortunately. Guys, using the code SEXperience, sign up to TopSport. The bookies have been killing it for the first 2 rounds of the SuperCoach season. NRL season, more like it. They've been killing it because there's been a lot of upsets, and there's 4 teams who have had 2 wins and 4 teams who have had no wins. Manly being one of them. Hopefully Manly can come back this week and beat the Bulldogs. And as the Tommy owners out there, hopefully he can repay faith for you. Starting off with the team list, let's get this up here. So we've got the first game is St. George versus the Sharks. There's nothing massive here, but Jake, I want to ask you about a player. And I actually don't know who I wanted to ask you about. Fafita. Trindle. What do we think? Does Hines lose the goal kicking when Trindle comes back on?
I don't think so. Trindle's not.
It's Hines' job, man. He wants the kicking. He's put his hand up. He's the boss.
Even though he only got 1 from 4 last week, but I think, Trindle's going to come on and play lock, so he's going to play maybe 30 to 40 minutes at lock. But I think Hines still. I mean, he doesn't really need the goal. He actually lost points last week goal kicking.
Yeah, he did.
I think he finished on -2 if you combine all the goal kicking scores. So I don't think it really matters if he's goal kicking or not, because he seems to just fall into points, whether it's just running, tackle bust, offloads. He's only got 2 tries this year, and he's averaging 90 or something.
Yeah. Mikey, on the other side of the park, Tyrell Sloan, 26 with a try. How are you liking him at the moment? Expecting a bounce back week this week?
I knew what I was buying. I said it like I knew what he was like. He doesn't have any attacking stats. In that first score, he had if you take away all his attacking stats, he had 10 to 12 points. I understand it's dog shit, but that's what I bought him for, because they're going to be weeks where he has huge scores, and I'm waiting for that full complete game for him. And I still liked what I saw against Penrith. He was so heavily he gets himself devolved, he gets himself in the right spot, and that try did come off a kick, but he's just always around the ball. So I really did like him, and even in that, Dragons got hard done by in that game. I can admit that as a Penrith supporter. Sloan's going to get better, and I think when they start having a bit of a better lineup, I'm going to hold on. So I'm not overly worried, but there are a lot of Dragon players in here that are starting to kind of raise their hand as outside options.
Timmy, just before we move on to the next game, Matt Moylan, the guy from Penrith, he looked good on the weekend. Well, obviously not for Supercoach, but it's good to see him. Good to see him back, looking sharp.
Yeah, I like the way they're combining together. They're sort of hitting the ball a bit wider, sort of allowing Hines to sort of have a really good running game as well. Hines' running game is just ridiculous. That's what I think is so juicy about it. I'm really unsure what to do. I've got Walker, but waiting for him to do his thing. But then Hines looks really consistent and with upside as well. So I don't know whether I need to bite the bullet and get on the Hines train.
Does the Cleary factor get in the way? The fact that Cleary is so close, is there just no point wasting another trade on a half when Cleary's going to be...
I'd prefer Cleary over Hines, for sure.
Yeah, obviously.
I think. Yeah. Even at the price, I think you could make an argument with if Hines is scoring hundreds, then maybe he's better. And there's a lot of people that are saying, a lot of the guns from last year aren't scoring well, so let's wait and see how Cleary scores first. But I think Cleary's game's just the most Supercoach friendly there is, really. But yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering if there's a way that you could have Nico and Cleary.
I think possibly
you'd have to be very thin elsewhere, though.
Yeah. Jake, Junior Amone, Talatau Amone, 280,000, scored for 49 on the weekend. Is he someone that you would consider, obviously, maybe downgrading or upgrading, considering he hasn't really set the world on fire just as yet?
I don't think so. I would maybe prefer Billy Smith to punt instead of Amone. I think I'm happy to stick with him. He had a try assist in the Panthers game, and he still scored 50 points. So, I mean, he's getting about 30 odd in base, so I'm happy to stick with him for now.
Very good. Next, we got the Tigers versus the Warriors. My boy Marcelo Montoya went over for a try, scored me 54. Did pretty good. Rocco Berry hogged the ball, absolutely hogged the ball, and I hate Rocco Berry. He's a shit footballer. Mikey, Josh Curran at 13. Are you liking the look of him?
Yeah, I was really keen on him on the edge at the preseason, and then at lock he's been good. If you're looking at downgrading a Crichton or Fafita, I think he probably is the pick of the bunch. But the reason why I would still pick Owakalatu, got to say his name, I would pick him purely because of the price. It's a 70k difference, and I feel like they can produce similar, and I feel like Owakalatu's got a bit more tries in him. If we think that their draw's a lot better now, I think we're going to see a bit more attacking stats, and they do seem to favour that edge, and 24 points in tackle bust for Owakalatu. And back on Curran, he's getting heavily involved still, and I would not talk anyone out of buying him, but I guess, would you prefer Frizzell over him? They're both very similar price. So it is. I think there is options there. It's just which one do you pick at the 3 first?
Timmy, this game looks pretty pretty lean in options. Is there anyone that spikes your interest or has looked good to start the season?
I'm pretty keen on one of the Warriors centers, Rocco Berry. I think he's a really good footballer. Wait, what's funny?
Sam just gave him a spray.
No, I'm just staring at the pot. No, he's what do you mean? He's a terrible footballer. He's all right, mate.
No, he's not a terrible footballer. It's just
Sav's just angry.
Savs is just angry.
It's kind of when you have a player, you notice the people inside them, and it just felt like players like Reece Walsh, Rocco Berry, and Ewan Aiken were just running the ball when there was numbers on the outside at all times. It was so frustrating, but I think that comes down to a bad buy in Marcelo Montoya. Like the people inside him have to be good for him to be a good buy. Obviously.
Let's move on. I don't like
just quickly, Savs. Wait, before we move on, there's one player we haven't touched up on. Tuolangi hasn't been named, so we're assuming I'm assuming that's a HIA. Yeah, he's not there at all. I knew you missed that one. It's HIA related, but the concerning news here is if the Warriors play better in Ghana, he might struggle to get back onto the bench or even in the starting side. So what are we thinking to do with him? Like, that's a bit of a headache because he's got that 50 in his rolling average. Like, his break even's not too bad. He's going to make a bit of cash. Oh, he's going to start to, but it's whether or not he lands that starting spot back because yeah, I think he looks pretty good in NRL, but it's really hard to take much positives out of the Tigers at the moment.
I think it's definitely a wait and see. Obviously, we don't know once we find out more. But 250,000, can't really do much with that, can you?
Well, Taylor May. That could be your Taylor May if you have the jewels. There you go. So maybe he is better off in holding and waiting and see because if he gets that starting spot back, I think you can milk a bit of money out of him. A little
Very
bit.
Good.
Hopefully a lot.
All right. Anyone else before we move on? Or
I guess Jackson Hastings named, but he's just contesting his suspension of 2 to 3 weeks, so he's probably going to be out for all those owners.
Very good. So moving on to the Rabbitohs and the Roosters, and as we already see here, Billy Smith is named on the wing. I don't think it changes much for his output because he's been playing on the wing anyway. Timmy, is Billy Smith a sell?
I'm going to see how he goes on the wing. I think maybe he could score more tries on the wing. Roosters haven't really kicked into gear completely yet. I'm not in a rush to sell Billy Smith. I've got no idea who I want to sell or buy, though. I don't really have anyone that's pressingly a sell except for maybe... I don't really have anyone.
I think a thing to note is he's been named in centre the first 2 weeks, but he's been playing on the right wing anyway. So
I was only the second game I think he played with. The first game he played left centre, but he got HIA'd.
HIA.
So
the second game I did notice he was playing on the wing. So I don't know.
So Momo went in, did he?
Did he play wing the whole game?
Yeah.
Did he play wing the whole game?
Yeah.
He played right wing. So Momorowski played
32 on the wing in base. Yeah, isn't too bad.
It's a tough one. Latrell Mitchell back. Obvious gun fullback option. Jake, what do we think of Latrell Mitchell? Is he someone you would consider?
I think if he started round one, he'd a lot of teams would have started with him instead of a Turbo or Pappenhausen or Teddy. But I think the fact that he's kind of didn't start and South's got a pretty hard run, I think to round 4 or 5. Yeah, I can't just be staying off him until maybe price rises are changing. But I think the one that kind of people will be worried about is Cody Walker.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a question in the comments before. To just stick with him or get rid of him. I think you've got to get rid of him. Souths look lost in attack.
Yeah, agree. Cody Walker, obviously $734K, premium price at 5'8". I think you got to get rid of him. He's going to come good. Like the Souths still fell into points on that left side. I don't know how that they were just so clunky the whole night, but they stuck in there.
The problem was Jackson Paulo at left centre kept dropping the ball. So it looks like they've actually swapped it there. Paulo's on the wing at left centre.
They did that live in the game too. They flicked him.
Maybe. And then they scored straight away.
Yeah.
their timing was just really off. Obviously, that was probably just Jackson Paulo timing his run. Not very good. Timmy, I think my more concern in the Rabbitohs side is, as a Supercoach option, Lachlan Ilias. What are our thoughts on him? Is he someone that we might have to consider getting rid of sooner rather than later? Because he might
I don't think so. I think he'll end up just having a couple of try assists and he'll end up scoring a try. He's got tries in his game as well. He likes to run the ball. I think he's just slotting into his spot. You know what I mean? He's got big shoes to fill, and I don't think there's any need to try and rush to sell him. I think he'll come good. He'll do a job for us and grow enough in prices.
I've got a possible scenario I could throw at you right now. Lachlan Ilias, you've got him in your side. He's obviously not going to make money straight away, and at 200K, he's going to make money eventually. It's just whenever them attacking stats come. But if you've got him in your halfback area, which, I mean, a lot of people probably won't, I would consider spending the 90K and going up to Adam Clune, who is 293,000 with a break-even minus 12. And he is someone who can make you a bit of cash nice and early up front, and then you can possibly upgrade your two halves to a Cleary and a Hines sooner rather than later. What are your thoughts on that tactic?
I reckon everyone needs to wall up a little bit on the Knights. I reckon they're going to, get a reality check this weekend. Yeah, and then the Knights are the Knights, you know what I mean? They're not just because they've won their first two games and people are now big on what's the other, Clifford. Don't do that. They're not going to be consistent. So they've just come out of the gate strong. So I'd try to look at that as chasing last week's and the week before's points and that form. It's not for me. I wouldn't be looking at anyone except for maybe a Frizzell or Gay guy from the Knights.
Very good. Mikey, we're getting some questions on Cam Murray. What are your thoughts on him? He's sat out the first 20 minutes on the weekend and ended up scoring 76. What are your thoughts?
Great score by Murray. It's just his consistency. He just, he bangs a 70 and he bangs a 50. And it's just like that's been the case for the past couple of years. I don't hate him, but as I said before, I'm really strong on the other three blokes. I prefer Frizzell, Curran and Oluwalatu, and even I'd prefer Kickow if I didn't own him over Cam Murray. If you're after a more of a basey kind of guy, then I think you can find that in Frizzell and Oluwalatu. But then the other three options, I wouldn't steer anyone away from buying him, but I just think there's better options out there, and the minutes are changing around. If the Bunnies can't seem to win, like who knows what they're going to do. So for me, I wouldn't be going there right yet.
And obviously, Angus on the bench, Jake, Angus on the bench. Another one I want to talk about is Connor Watson at number 9. He's available in second row. Is Connor Watson a possible downgrade option? 515,000, scored 77 on the weekend. Played 60 minutes, but he's looking really good and really sharp out of dummy half.
Nah, I'd prefer to pick a second row that's going to be guaranteed 80 minutes at a similar price. Oluwalatu, Kickow. I'd much rather those guys. And Verrills is maybe 2 or 3 weeks away. And I don't know. I'm not too sure on what Watson's role is going to be when he's going back to 14. I even think they may even start Drew Hutchinson. I think they did that on the weekend. I don't know. I tend to avoid Connor Watson just because of the unknown in his utility role, especially at that price.
Fair call. Moving on to the next game, Penrith versus Newcastle. Used to be the Mike and Savs Cup, but it's not anymore. Mikey, I want to point out a player to you. Isaiah Yo's played 80 minutes the last 2 weeks. He was a Supercoach option, a few years ago, but obviously with the minutes, playing 60-odd minutes, he was never an option. But with scores of, I think it was 64 and 74 in the last 2 weeks, playing at 80 minutes, He's looking good in NRL, but Supercoach-wise, possibly gone under the radar. What do you think?
Yeah, great pod. He's actually picked up man in the match in both of his games, so he's sitting at the top with Clifford on 6 points for the Dally M. So, yeah, as I said, when Cleary comes back, I think his ball playing will drop a touch. It won't completely fall off because it's a big part of Penrith's attack is just the way he can sweep, and he's got a bit of ball play in him for a lock, and he just gets heavily involved. And with these injuries in the forwards, even when Cleary comes back, Fish and Sorensen, if they do miss games, it's been reported that it's only for a little bit, but in those games where they don't, I'm assuming, those big minutes and his involvement's going to stay up because the leadership from him is such a pivotal role in that Panthers side. So I totally forgot to mention him in those other options. Like he's another great pod option that you could go for. It's just his floor's not too bad, but at the same time, do you think he's better than those other guys? I'm not entirely sure, but Penrith straw is pretty friendly. It's not too bad. So yeah, he's an option.
I think my issue with Isaiah Yeo is the fact that Cleary's named at 24. I think when Cleary comes back, that will spell Isaiah Yeo, and he won't play 80 minutes every game. I think when he's on the field, he's like another halfback. Sean O'Sullivan went off on the weekend, and it was like their half wasn't even gone because Isaiah Yeo was still on the field. So he's really underrated in that department, and I think he's just gone to another level this year. I love him. Timmy, Taylor May, when are you kind of looking at getting him in? Are you going to be getting him in sooner rather than later, or are you going to wait till the third week to get him in?
I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with that. I'm interested in him for sure, especially in the Panthers side. I like his game. I think you get pretty similar out of him to what you would for To'o. I like it. I just don't. I'm not too sure who I want to sell and stuff yet. I don't know you wouldn't have to rush to do it, but if you were trying to free stuff up or make it happen, I wouldn't think it's a bad idea to get him in now. I think his job's pretty secure there.
Very good. And Jake, on the other side of the park, Tyson Frizzell, named at number 11. He looks like he started the season with a bang, scored a try on the weekend, scored 80. Is he a possible downgrade option for Angus Crichton? He's honestly looking like a premium second row option at the moment.
Oh, man, yeah, he looks good, but he does this every year. He flies under the radar and just averages 65 to 70 every single year. So you can't go wrong with him. He has some attacking upside and gets through a lot of work. But I know, Savs, you're the one that was really keen on him. Tell us why you prefer him over any other option.
I don't know. I think Tyson Frizzell, he's just the kind of guy who, can get them like higher base points. Like he can score 60, 70 just in base by himself because he's
very busy. He has lots of runs.
He's just so tough. And, if he has 10 runs, he's not going to be scared to go for that 11th because he's just tough. I just like how he's tough. And he can go over the line. Probably doesn't go over the line as much as an Angus Crichton or a David Fafita, but he can go over the line, unlike a Isaiah Yeo who, probably only will do it once or twice a season. That's why I like him a lot. But I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with my Angus Crichton trade, but he's probably the front runner at the moment. But I don't know. It just to me, it's just not the option that I want to be going with for some reason. Barnett is starting. Brad Huxley has said here. That is interesting. Fitzgibbon is not named.
Fitzgibbon injured.
Yeah, he's out for 3 to 4.
Yeah, so I still think Barnett's an avoid.
Yeah,
he's a bit trappy. Just because he's been moving from the bench to the prop, he seems like he's too expendable. I think he'd become a problem.
Very good. Next game, Melbourne versus Parramatta. Jermaine Asako was rumoured to get released from the Broncos today to go Parramatta, but all of a sudden it gave me the vibes of Api Coruscant all but done signed with the Bulldogs, but then last minute signed with the Panthers. That's what it felt like today. But Jermaine Sarko plays for neither of these teams, so that's irrelevant. Parramatta lost to the Sharks on the weekend. Storm nearly lost to the Rabbitohs on the weekend. One person I want to talk about, Ryan Pappenhausen, Mikey. He looks good, but he doesn't quite look like he was starting the season when he was absolutely blitzing teams at the start of the year.
Yeah, I remember the year before that where he was another popular option and he just didn't start crazy and then he got into his groove. I think this is the same thing. I think if Tom's taking a plummet in price and I need to get Tom, it's going to be at the expense of Pappenhausen. But at the same time, with his scores, he's just someone I'm not going to constantly captain each week, but I'm definitely, it's a big game is coming. I can sense that, and I assume he will take the goals. Harry Grant, failed to slot his goals, and he's not playing this week. So I guess if they don't think he's 100%, then it would have to go to Munster. But I'm thinking he did slot one at the end there, Pappenhausen, and he did kick that nice field goal. So I assume he'll take back the goals, which I guess is only going to help him. But yeah, if the Melbourne Storm clicked in that second half against the Rabbitohs, I think a lot of these Storm players would have had a very different score.
Timmy, Josh King named at number 13, played 67 minutes last week. What are your thoughts on Josh King? And is he a player you should be rushing to get in your side this week?
I brought him in last week, as well as Kikau, mostly just because... just because he's got that little starting spot with the cheese going down. I think he's good for 50 most games, 40, 50. And it's nothing I wouldn't be rushing him in. I just felt that was a way I could sort of do what I'm trying to do. I've decided I want to spend less in the prop. At first I was thinking I wanted to go primo, but now I'm happy with Haas and a cheapie.
Very good. Moving on to the next game. Raiders.
Sav, just scroll up a little bit. Brandon Smith's actually named and extended as well, so he could be a late inclusion for the now absent Harry Grant,
really?
Which I guess in future weeks could spell minute trouble for Josh King.
Didn't he break his hand?
For people. There you go. It's been named somehow. He's a tough little bugger.
Very good. All right, Raiders versus the Titans. What have we got here? It's looking quite similar. Mikey?
Snyder's back.
Yeah.
Snyder is back.
Snyder's back. He's starting. You assume he'll take over the goals. He's a play. I'm going to play him this week. Yeah, this game screams points. I think this will be a high-scoring affair, and it'll be like, one of those 28-24 kind of score lines. It's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. So, he's kicking goals too, so it doesn't matter. If Raiders are scoring some points, you'll happily play Brad Snyder. In that first game where he scored 40, he just slot a few, 3 or 4 goals, and he didn't get any attacking stats. So, I'm happy with around that from his base. And then if he can jag one attacking stat, you're looking at a 60, which, I think is good. And I was worried he might not come back into the game because he's obviously going to miss a bit of training because of his 1 week in COVID isolation. So I'm not sure how well his fitness is going to be, but I don't think they'd play him if they didn't think it was 100%. So, interesting. And that other cheapest Schiller, who we said was a trap, he drops off too for the return of Rapana, which we thought would definitely be the case.
Jake, Josh Hodgson has been confirmed out for the season with an ACL injury, which spells the time for his Raiders career. Tom Starling is obviously the next cab off the rank for that hooker role. What do we think of Tom Starling? Obviously, because Harry Grant is such a good option, he's kind of been overlooked, but Tom Starling has the potential to be one of the next big SuperCoach hookers.
I guess so. The fact they've got Matt Frawley on there probably means that he's gonna fill in at hooker for some minutes, like that Trevelyan did last week. He didn't look too good last week, to be honest, Tom Starling. But I guess now he's guaranteed that start lock spot. But yeah, it's a one for people that don't have Harry Grant, to be honest. So I'm kind of excluding myself from this conversation. If you're planning on bringing Harry Grant, do you want to run Starling and Randall as your hookers, as two money makers, and then upgrading to Green in, say, 3-4 weeks?
It's an option, Jake. I think for people that need a Cleary, that could be one way you could get, basically, even if you waited next week and you traded, example, Marnie to Starling. Have another look. Let's see what happens with Frawley, because I think Frawley's better on the bench for him than that Treilani bloke, because he's actually a hooker, that other bloke, where Frawley might not get too many minutes depending on how Starling's performing. So that could be a way where you could easily make close to 300K. From going Marnie, for example, to Starling. So that could be an option to get Cleary. And like Jake said, hope he makes some money, and then you can upgrade him to Grant later. But then the risk you're having is not having Grant sooner. But hey, you're going to have to do some crazy things to get Cleary. If you want to wait, you might want to jump early and make a move that way. So it's shaping like the play. But yeah. With a low-scoring year, is Cleary overpriced? I think that's the big question. Who knows? It's tough. You don't know, because everyone that's priced that high aren't really scoring to their price total, and that's the big thing that we're all trying to adjust to. So I don't think it's wrong to think differently and try a different plan, because this is a season where it could work.
Very good insight there. Timmy, Dave Fafita, obviously underwhelming the first two games. What do you think the best thing to do with him is?
I think the best thing to do with Davey Fafita is to keep him, because out of all of the second rows, he's that one that can really turn it on and go ballistic. He's a little bit more expensive than most of the others. He might drop a little bit in cash, but I wouldn't worry about that if you want to hold him for most of the year, because he'll probably rise back up by the time you want to sell him, if you need to sell him over Origin or anything like that. I really like Fafita. I think that he scored okay, considering he hasn't gone on his rampage. He had that attacking stat where he gave the nice ball to the winger last week, which was a nice touch. I like that. But yeah, we haven't really seen him rip and tear with the palms and the fens and stuff yet, but I think they're to come. I feel like the Titans are just sort of trying to play a style of football where they're not too dependent on Fafita, and they're sort of just keeping him there for when they need him, sort of thing. But I think we'll see some better scores from Fafita. I like the idea that people might want to sell him, because that means he's more pottish. But now with Crichton going down, I see more people wanting to hold him. Oh, not going down, but getting benched.
Yeah, with Fafita, Jake, it's a very tough one. You captained him on the weekend. What sort of direction with captains do you feel like is the best way to approach it? Because obviously the backs, they're not quite getting there. The second rowers who are scoring the base and have the potential to go big and get them attacking stats, they're not quite going there either. And the forwards, they're just tuning out their work. What direction and what are we looking at to go in looking at our captains?
I don't know. I think it's almost pick one of the popular ones. It seems to be the go nowadays. But I mean, going creative options probably the way to go. Or hopefully you nail your VC and even
like a Hines.
Pick up Ilias's 20. I mean, it's probably going to be the same score as what one of your centers gets. So
yeah, go
the risky loop. Hopefully it pays off and just loop the thing. Because yeah. I don't know. We're only 2 rounds in. The game already looks like it's, I guess, a little bit slower with the 6 again, or not 6 again rule change penalties, just to slow the game down. Players won't be as fatigued. But 2 rounds in, that could all change this week, and we could be getting Turbo scoring 200 against the Dogs. You never know.
I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
just quickly, Sabs, while I'm here, I'm going to have to quickly duck off, boys. I'm running short on time before I go to work. So good luck to everyone, SuperCoach, this week. I did really bad with my bold predictions. I don't even have any. I guess the Harry Grant news has rocked all of us. I have no clue where I'm going with trades, but I think at this stage there's only one I think I want to lock in. But tough times, boys. Good luck this weekend, and yeah, let's see who gets ahead.
See you later, Mikey. All right, back to 3. So let's move on to Cowboys versus the Broncos. The Broncos back on a Sunday again. which, I mean, Adam Reynolds probably hasn't played this many Sundays in his life. So lucky he's probably not a church man. So it's looking quite similar to what it was last week, both sides. I think one of, who is it, not Tom Gilbert, but Mitch Dunn went down with an ACL. Was that right, Jake?
Yeah, he's gone for the season, yeah. So I guess Cotter comes in for him.
Yeah.
I know Cotter was popular at the start of the season, but no, I don't think he's a go at all.
And yeah, both sides looking quite similar. Is this just going to be one of them, that the same game that the Bulldogs has played the last 2 weeks? Is it one of them grinding matches where there's not many points in?
Well, I think so. The Broncos haven't conceded many points, and the Cowboys have only conceded 2 tries so far this season. So it spells another grinding game. And who would have thought that at the start of the season, these two teams would be good defensively? But I guess the main point is Stags and Cobbo, or mainly Stags because he's a lot more expensive. One of the most traded out. Is people just done with him, or can we expect a Stags resurgence? I mean, in the last couple of years, he's averaged over 55, so surely it's coming. I mean, he was only not dropping the ball away from scoring 60 plus. So what do you reckon? Is Stags is he got to go, or is he just to downgrade, I guess, to someone that's going to make money, such as a Hiku? Or I
think Stags, he's obviously going to come good, but I think the question is, when is he going to come good? Like, if you get off now and he comes good in 3 weeks, then you've got 3 weeks jump on the next person with, if you get someone that absolutely kills it, but there's no standout options that are absolutely killing it. So maybe just holding on to him is just the smart thing to do. But whether he bounces back this week and comes good for the rest of the season this week, I think that's going to be the question. And a lot of people are probably just getting impatient already because the signs that have not really been there. Like he's looked semi-promising, but he's just not getting involved. Timmy, what are your thoughts on the Cobbo Stags kind of combination? On the other side of the field, Herbie Farnworth scored 85 last weekend. Very similar price. Could you see yourself jumping ship going him?
No, because the way it works, like, it all equals out, right? So Stags isn't going too great now. He's going to start scoring well sooner or later. If Herbie's had a good couple of games, then he's going to have a few lower games. You know what I mean? It's just, you can't be switching from premium Stags to Farnworth. That's weird. I've got both Cobbo and Stags. I'm not too worried about them. I'm happy to plug them both in. I think I'll still play them both every week. I think there's a lot to come from those guys. Still confident in them.
Yep, I agree. Obviously, Cobbo's still good option, and he's a young talent, so he'll have that game that he breaks out, and it'll just click, and it'll just start working for him. Last game, lads, we've got Manly versus the Bulldogs. Not many changes here either. Pangai Jr. looked quite good on the weekend, but I think if you're a Tommy owner, you'll be hoping that this game is the bounce back, and you'll be hoping your $1.2 million price tag comes back to give you some good favors.
Well, as a Tommy owner, especially if he can get those 200 scores where he does just do a few ridiculous things, scores 3 tries, sets 2 up, it could be a real way to get ahead this season. You know what exactly. I mean? Especially with all the lowest scores. He is that individualist. He hasn't done much yet. It's going to come. So, I mean, probably not that same sort of 200 style games consistently where you'd bank him for 150, but I feel like you can comfortably start banking him for 100 every game.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
Yeah. I probably
know.
Wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't know. Oh, geez, I'm glad I'm not in that spot. I don't know. I really would not know what to do this week. I think I'd probably just keep him. I think, I'd probably keep him.
I'd definitely keep him this week. Buying him to start the season, this is the game that you've earmarked for his big run. Obviously, you had the 2 harder games to start off the year, but I don't know. Do we think, Jake, I'll start with you. Do we think that the new rules are allowing for players like Turbo to have big games like that, or has it kind of blocked that massive Supercoach score?
I think it's a bit too early to tell. I guess last year still seems like an outlier to previous years, and I guess we're probably not going to see the massive scores, but Tommy Turbo is still good enough to score. I mean, but other than last year, he was still scoring 190 or something was his record before that. So he can definitely do it. But I think the rule change it slows down. I guess it gives both teams a rest, attacking and defensive. So attacking team, I guess, gets in the attacking half, but it also gives the defensive side a rest rather than moving back. And like Turbo last year, he scored so many tries from his own half off the quick six and again. So they would just go backwards. So he's not getting, I guess, that quick play the ball with all them going backwards. He just goes straight through the middle and picks up Saab or whatever, Garrick, which he's not getting this year because of that rule change. So I guess that's the only difference. It's kind of, I guess, stopping the more long-range tries that we'll get in so many of last year, especially for Manly.
Agree. All right, let's move on, guys, and let's move on.
One other player, I guess I just wanted to ask you about Bullimore. I think we all said he was kind of a bit of a trap at the start. He got hooked after, I think, 35 minutes for Davey, who looked a lot better than he did.
Mm-hmm.
Is
I think
he
it's his
a
defensive
sell,
issues.
or is he just put him there to begin with?
Sorry.
So what do you think? Do you think sell or just leave him there, see how he goes this week, and then obviously I don't think he's a play for sure.
Yeah,
with Davey and Lord on the bench.
I don't think he's gonna make the money that you want him to. So obviously, if there's like a Josh King you can sell him to, 100% do it. Yeah. But if he's someone in your side that you don't really need to trade out, then just leave it. Because he might make 30, 40K. And that's
still a break even at 9, so
that's still useful. But I'd 100% go to Josh King. If I could, a Josh King or a
Max King, if you don't have him particularly.
Max King. Jesus, even for Fafita, the fact that Finucane and McInnes have come back into the side and he's still got that bench spot, he's only going to need one try and he's going to surge in money and probably go up 300K plus. So I don't know. I kind of like Fafita still. I'd be jumping off if I could with Fafita, but yeah. Yeah, very good. Let's move on and answer a couple of questions and then do some bold predictions. Stags on the verge of greatness from Mr. Goody. We've also got just quietly, how good has Max King been to start the year by Ben White? He's been very good. Nearly a play every week, in my opinion. But I don't know.
His PPM's so good. I was like, can he keep it up? That's the thing. He's only playing 35, 40 minutes, but he's scoring 55 plus. So.
Yeah. Who else we got? Dean Seepar. Surely you look at CHN, Mikey. Goal kicking. Obviously won't this week, but I like the look of CHN as well. It looks quite good.
Offloader.
The headset is next level, Mikey.
All these are Mikey based, and he's gone.
Yeah, he's got like fucking fluoros going. Like it's got lights and stuff off it. A few whistles.
Are we trading Crichton? I think I am. Yes. And another one here is Corey Oates worth a look. I think he's looked quite good. The price is awkward for me. It's 340 odd K. I don't have enough room in my
got a low break even, and I'm assuming people either have Cobbo and or Stags, so you don't really want a third Broncos back. So, nah.
But it's good. I heard Adam Reynolds talking a lot about Corey Oates and pretty much said Corey Oates is his favourite bloke in the side, which is, that's good signs for Corey Oates. And yeah, very good. Ooh. All right, so bold predictions, lads. Let's go around the room. I'll start off. I think Fafita's going to get 75 plus. I don't have him in my side, but, I'm scared not to have him this week. Fafita 75 plus. And I'm liking to look at Arrow. I think he's going to get 75 plus as well this week. Jake?
I'll go next. I'm going to say Ewan Aiken against the Tigers is going to score 90 plus. I'm going to go Fafita 100 plus and Turbo less than 80.
Very good. Timmy?
Oh man, I hate doing these. Okay. So I'm going to work my way backwards. I'm going to say that Tommy will score 120 plus. Is that bold?
That's bold, yes.
Well, I'll make it 125. 125. I'm going to say that Stags will score 80 plus, and Panthers to keep the Knights to 0.
Ooh. That's a tricky
And,
one.
and I think the Knights are going to keep Panthers below 10.
You really are a Knights fan now, aren't you?
I'm not. I'm
you
not.
100% are, mate. You are turning. If they win this game, you'll be a Knights supporter.
No,
and if
no
Panthers
way,
lose, you'll be a
no
Knights
way.
supporter. 100%. Look at
No
his coffee
way.
because he knows it's
No
true.
way. No way. Manly 13 plus. Manly 13 plus. Bet of the week. Captains. I think we'll post the captains when we're ready because I still have no idea. So we're just taking a stab in the dark by doing that. So closer to Thursday, we'll post our captains.
Obviously, if you have Turbo, you're going to captain him, but none of us have him. So we're going to have to do something different.
Cheers for tuning in, guys. Good episode, lads. And crazy team list day, as always to start the season. But hopefully we got through it. And cheers, guys, for joining in.
Cheers.
Please, good luck.